Hello everybody, it's your old pal Tuna here, and welcome back to another video. If this is your first time on the channel, yes, my name is Tuna. I am an illustrator and comic artist from Canada, and today I wanted to take you along on another art project. So we are out in the woods for Opus Plein Air Challenge Day, which takes place on Canada Day for the last couple of years. It is hosted by the local art supply store Opus, and the whole idea is to encourage people to go out in their communities all on one day in one general area and complete paintings together. In the morning, we congregate at the local Opus shop itself, say hello to some of the other participants, and then we're free to leave for a couple of hours. The event started at 11:30 and we were meant to report back between 2:30 and 3 o'clock, which gives about 3 hours, but admittedly, it felt a lot shorter than that. In anticipation of this time constraint, I did in fact go to this park earlier in the week to scope out sort of what it looked like and what I was going to expect and where I might want to sit and paint. And the two spots that I had selected were unfortunately both occupied. Now, on the flip side, I'm sure that there would have been no problem tucking in next to somebody else to paint. In fact, a lady came by to paint next to me in this spot as well, and it was actually super nice to have her next to me. It felt a little bit more like we were doing something together. And as well, some of the people who were also painting nearby and maybe finished early or just kind of wanted to see what everyone was up to were coming by and saying hello during the process, not in an interrupting way, but just enough to make it feel like we were all out there together. So if you are brand new to the concept of plein air, you may be like, what is plein air? What are the rules? How does it work? And I don't really know specifically, but I'm going to go ahead and say that it's basically just painting outdoors or drawing outdoors if you prefer. This is something that I have gotten into in the last, I want to say couple of years. I've been slowly developing my painting style through my pet portraits, and I guess I just wanted to reach out a little bit more and paint a slightly different spectrum of subjects. And you know, nature is so darn pretty that she spoke to me, and here I am now, painting as much as possible outdoors during the reasonable weather. That being said, I am still super new to this, so please don't take anything I say as law. In fact, if you would like to learn more about the technical aspects of painting outdoors, I highly recommend you check out the James Gurney YouTube channel. I will leave a link down below to that because I've learned a lot from watching his videos. He also has a beautiful, calm demeanor that's very pleasant to listen to and watch, and an amazing art style to boot. My other main inspiration for my outdoor painting is actually Bob Ross. I learned so much from watching his videos about how to layer paint from background to foreground, and I really do recommend you check out his incredible library of videos as well to learn about how to paint an environment. Now, getting into my technique specifically, as you can see, I am using a board. This is a gesso board from the brand Ampersand. These were generously provided by Opus as a promotion for the Plein Air Challenge Day. You could choose from a canvas or a board or some paper, and I use these for all of my pet portraits actually, so pretty much a must-have for me when painting. Delighted to save a cool 10 to 15 bucks by getting one for free. I have done a quick sketch in a mechanical pencil just to very loosely block out the scene that I will be focusing on, and my paint of choice this event and every single time I paint is acrylic gouache, majority of which is from Holbein. I never remember if it's Holbein or Holbein. We're gonna go with Holbein for this one. I have with me an assortment of flat brushes and this little I guess like easel thing that I'm working with. I have no recollection of where this came from. I've had it forever and ever, and it's perfect for laptop usage. I, up until this painting session, have actually never had a chair. I always just sit on like a rock or some sort of bench or even the ground depending on what I'm painting, and I'm really glad I invested in this $25 pop-up chair. It is a real pain in the butt to drag around town with me, but it made painting a total breeze. Look at how perfectly my little water cup fits in the cup holder there. I also remember to bring my paint palette. I use ceramic paint palettes and I chose my lightest one just for travel as well. The water is from a water bottle that I bring specifically. I should have, sipped from it too, but to refill my water. And it's good to have somewhere to toss your dirty water because you'll probably want to change it out at least once during the painting session. And I was using the leftovers of my iced coffee from the morning to do so. I believe the last material that I need to mention is I have a little cloth that I use to wipe my paintbrush to make it clean so that I don't make the water too dirty when I have to rinse out for another color. Okay, that covers materials. As you can see, I've already begun painting. The sketch was placed on the canvas really quickly, probably about 20 minutes, and then I went into applying the base layer of colors. This is the beginning of my technique when I am painting animals, or here plein air, is to block out kind of where all of the colors, the main colors are in the scene or pet portrait. And here I'm basically focusing on blocking in both value and color, working my way from the background to the foreground. And one of the major challenges about working at plein air is that the light will change on you as time goes by, so it's very important to get this quick color blocking, shape blocking in while you have a clear sort of stage in front of you. So for example, you'll see I lay in the colors of where the sunlight is hitting, where the values are the brightest and the colors are the brightest. And over time, this is going to change, but having this base layer means I can use that as reference even as the colors change through time. I think this stage was somewhere between 30 to 45 minutes, and you might notice that I'm using a very watered down paint. As this is my base layer, I will pretty much be going over the entire thing again with more paint on top to layer, so I'm not too worried about making sure that my opacity is where I want it to be yet. It's more about working fast, maybe blending colors a little bit, and when the paint is more watered down, it tends to apply a lot faster. You can also notice that I'm using a very broad brush at this stage. I would say that in general, I work from larger brushes to smaller brushes as I begin to add detail, and I haven't had a chance to work at a really large scale yet, so I would say that the brush that you're looking at is probably my second largest brush that I usually work with. And again, it's just so that I can focus on the basic shapes of what I'm seeing and get things down as quickly as possible. At this stage, I am also focusing on keeping my color palette as simple as possible. So you might be thinking, there's no purple in nature, Tuna. What are you up to there? My particular style for both pet portraits and these plein air paintings is this not at all realistic, I get Lisa Frank a lot, so I've been calling my style Lisa Frank style, of exaggerating the colors in a way that still kind of reflects what I'm really seeing, but in a hyperpigmented and vibrant sort of way. I'm making all these decisions on the fly as I am painting, but I do have kind of a library in my mind of the types of color replacement that I tend to do. This is something that I've developed over years of, first of all, working with limited color palettes and then learning how to apply those limited color palettes in a number of different scenarios. I get a lot of questions about how I do this, and it is difficult for me to explain as it is sort of second nature to me now, but a couple of things that I will impart onto you. The first thing is that I'm very averse to brown. I am not a fan of brown, and so a lot of the time I will replace my browns with purples and pinks. I think the most basic way that I can describe it, though, is that I'm just effectively punching up the saturation on everything that I see as much as possible. One of the interesting elements about this scene is the river in front of me. I'm a big fan of painting rivers, actually, and the water is not blue. You will notice that it is actually basically an orangey brown color as well. And in the interest of adding a little bit of dimension to the scene, instead of repeating the same purple and pink in the water that I would do for the ground and wood in the trees, I'm shifting it instead to a gold kind of tone, golds and oranges. So that's just an interesting way how you can make a scene that basically just looks brown and green and turn it into kind of like a multicolor situation. Really, the bottom line is if your values are correct, then your colors can basically be anything that you want them to be. So understanding how light and dark play in a scene is really the foundation of being able to apply these fantasy colors to whatever you want. So I'm nearly done blocking in all of my base layer here. I really want to try and get a little bit of paint everywhere. That's kind of my focus. And now that I have this base to work from, I can start building detail up using more of what I see in the scene. I start in the background as much as possible and work my way forward. That way all of my layering will make sense. And it's not necessary to do this if you're not on a time constraint necessarily, but because I only have a little bit to work with, it's important that I don't have to constantly be kind of moving back and forth and repainting areas in order to get it to the state that I want it to be. And the further you are in the background, the less important the detail is, so you can do a lot of suggesting, like these are some ferns that I'm painting here, all of the little plants. And building onto the dark values, I can add lighter values to create this dimension in the background. Now, this is the main sort of concept of this paint style. This is a Bob Ross thing where you do the darks and then you layer the lighter values on top. I would say that not necessarily starting with darks, but more of like a mid-tone, so I can add both the highlights and the lowlights just to start carving out some shapes in my piece. It's important to try and preserve as much dark as you possibly can and to get a little bit of contrast going on, because that's what's going to make your painting kind of have life to it. And as Bob Ross says, you don't want to kill all your darks, you want to leave some areas that are darker and some areas that are lighter. And as a rule, the areas with the highest contrast are going to be the focal point of the painting. Oh my gosh, real quick, let's look at these ducks. My painting partner was the one who pointed them out. I would have totally spaced if she had it. So yeah, this was the greatest part of the whole day. Go out and paint outside because you're going to see things like tiny adorable ducklings. Let me tell you.
You can do it, little guys.
Right, so getting back to the concept of the focal point, the more that there is detail and contrast, that's where people's eyes are going to be drawn to in a composition. So if you're drawing a pet, you basically want the faces to have the highest detail and most contrast. And here in this painting, I'm trying to create the strip of light as being the area that is the sort of subject of the scene, if that makes sense. So that's starting with the bush that is illuminated with the brightest green, and then the area that you can see that I've prepped with the yellow and orange so far. I wouldn't say that I nail the contrast and values of this painting 100%. I definitely start rushing towards the end, which you will see as I'm running out of time. And I think that I might have pushed some of the darkest darks a little bit further. I love using this like dark blue indigo purple for my darkest darks, but perhaps if I had pushed them just a little bit more, it would have helped, especially with the foreground elements that I left until a little bit too late. But this is also the stage where I start introducing a little bit more color into the composition, not just focusing on the basic palette that I've pre-chosen with the base layer. So as you can see, all of the rocks were done in more of a pinkish tone, and I think this worked out so well. That was a pink straight from the bottle, and it just happened to be the perfect value to mesh with the shadows. And then what I did was added the darker color for the rocks that were in the highlight and added some bright highlights as well. So it kind of creates, even though you're applying unusual colors to unusual places, it creates the illusion of the light and the dark in a really balanced way. I also love painting rocks like this. Call me crazy, but it's very relaxing. It's part of why I really enjoy a little river/creek setting. Same with all of the leaves. And I think being understanding your paint quite well is very helpful in these time constraint and more challenging outdoor environments. So for example, the yellow that I am using right now has been mixed with titanium white, which is my favorite color of white, because I want it to be very opaque and layer without any transparency over the existing yellow area. So this was around the time that I realized I had like 20 minutes left and I hadn't added any of the quote unquote foreground elements. So very quickly I started blocking in some of the trees that I knew would be painted over some of these background pieces in this mid-ground, and then at the very foreground here as well. I start with the branches and then I can add the lovely leaf texture on top of that. But this is kind of where I lost a little bit of the contrast and muddled things up a little bit. I don't know if I should have made the background lighter or the foreground darker in hindsight, but I did the best with what I could, and I am relatively happy with how things came out. I especially like the gnarled root area in this foreground as being the foreground, but yeah, I think like you get a bit lost in the sauce when you're doing this, and so in hindsight there would have been changes that I made, and I'd like to experiment more with drawing from photographs to be able to strengthen this intuition of light and dark a little bit more. But anyway, that is neither here nor there. I am going to go in and add leaves. One of the things that I find kind of challenging about outdoor painting like this is the variation in greens that you can get. Now, I really love the bright, luscious, like phosphorescent chlorophyll green kind of going on in the background, but there is a tree, the one on the right hand side, that is more of a coniferous sort of tree, and so it has like pines, and in order to differentiate that from the background I want to create a different tone of green to do so. And yeah, I find it hard to do that while keeping within the palette that I enjoy, but I'll let you be the judge of whether or not I was successful. And as I've been speaking about this, I'm just adding a little bit more dimension to the tree in the foreground here. And maybe this is a good moment to say that when it comes to filling in these details, no one's going to check your work. No one's going to make sure that you are doing things accurately to the scene. I think you want to strike a balance of being true to what you see, but also understanding the limitations of your translation onto the page. I would say as long as it looks good in the painting, like it's cool to just make it look good in the painting. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate, but yeah, here, these leaves in particular were giving me some trouble. I ended up going with as dark as possible, but as you can see, the background on the left-hand side is quite dark too, so you lose some of the detail. And then I tried like adding highlights and it just wasn't really working. So yeah, unfortunately, the last couple of details were not 100% up to snuff, and in some ways, maybe I wish that I just left these branches out of it so I could focus more on the detail in the background, but hey, that's the thing about plein air painting, is it's all about the journey, all about the process, and less so about what the finished piece actually looks like. So I don't want you to feel too bad if you feel like maybe you haven't, perfectly captured the scene, because you can always go back and try again. So here it is, the finished painting. I had such an amazing time painting this. I do love how it came out, and here I am now rushing to the finish line to get back to Opus, because there was a little giveaway after the time ran out for the actual painting session, and I was really, really eager to see what everybody else had painted. I don't know about you, but I find being an artist to be a pretty solitary experience, and so being able to connect with people in a community-based way and see all of the amazing stuff that they've gotten up to is really inspiring, and part of why I really wanted to go out and participate in this particular event today. They used to be a bit more of like a whole production of like the giveaway and everybody looking at everyone's paintings. It's a little more low-key now, but so it goes, and I will hopefully be back next year to do this event again. But between now and then, surely I need to find time to do more painting on plein air. And one of the nice things was being able to meet some people who were here for this event. One of them was someone that was like the girlfriend of someone that I knew, and we were like, hey, we should go paint together sometime. So that's amazing, getting out and meeting people in the community, making friends that you wouldn't have necessarily done of your own accord. And some of the ladies who were from maybe a different demographic, a little bit older, were also hosting community events to go out and paint together. So fingers crossed that I will be able to attend some of those. But for now, let's head back to Opus and take a peek at what everybody else did and see if we can maybe win a little bit of something in the giveaways. Fingers crossed.
This all of them, yeah.
On behalf of Opus, I want to say thank you for attending today. This looks like it was so much fun. Woo! I love everyone's pieces. We all did so good. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This is so fun. So, as you can see, I have 5 bags in front of me. They all have mystery prizes and won another chance to win. Then we're still doing our Plein Air adventures, which is another chance to go kind of paint outside, a little bit more guided, and that's another way to win a prize in the future. Otherwise, the prize today is just having fun, and you got to paint outside. Woo! Beautiful day. Alrighty, so I will be drawing the first name. Okay, I have it here. Oh my goodness. Yeah, if you want to do a drum roll, make it dramatic. I have Molly McDonald. Woo! My first winner there.
Well, it called to me because it was bent over.
Yeah. There you go. For Christine Phillips. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're welcome. It's just right here. I have Colleen Siemens. I have Cindy J. Oh. Yeah, you got one. There you go. Thank you. Okay. So the name that I have here is Phoebe Hoover. Woo! Amazing. And can we give a round of applause for Alrighty, so all you lovely folks, you get to take your paintings home today, just as we don't have a place to hang them. I think I've taken pictures of all of them, or I or Carl did, but you're welcome to take them home. Feel free to hang out and chat. We will be closing at 4 today, but it was lovely hanging out with you guys today.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for coming along with me on this plein air journey. It's one of my favorite hobbies. I feel so blessed every time that I find the time to go out and do some painting. Once again, here is the finished piece. I feel like the longer that I've been looking at it, the more that I feel like it looks really abstract, which is kind of cool. I actually posted a photo of it on my local city subreddit and someone offered to buy it. So I'm supposed to meet up with them later today. Let's see if that works out or if I get bamboozled coffee shop. But yeah, all this video is about is encouraging you guys to get out and do some painting while the weather is good. If you don't have paint, if you only have pencils, if you even just want to do it in pen, it's all totally valid. It's just, I want to share this blissful experience with as many people as possible because I hadn't actually done it myself until very late in life, so don't miss out on all those years like I did. But that is it for the video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you are so inclined, and please leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Have you done any plein air? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you have any tips or tricks that I maybe didn't mention, seeing as how I'm still very new to it as well? Nori is digging in the garbage. There's nothing I can do about it. 2 things before I go. Helping! I have new merchandise. My shop is open. You can grab your own Nori Helping t-shirt or Art by Tuna Nori logo baseball cap in the shop, as well as most of the stuff that you've seen in my market vlogs and shop prep vlogs and all that jazz. So pop over, there's a link down below. Down below there is also a link to my Patreon where you can join this list of amazing people in supporting me monthly with a small payment of $1, $10, $25, whatever you can spare. At $1 you get access to my private Discord server, my secret shop that has all of my sticker sheets in it, digital downloads, and extra content like videos and podcasts. And then at the $10 and $25 tiers, I have mailable rewards on offer. This month we are doing a hot ghoul summer theme. It's not the first time I've dabbled in the spooky summer space, but it has been a while, so I had a little fun with it. You can check out this month's sticker sheet for the Lunchbox Club here, and as well, if there have been any other reveals, I will pop them up as well, because because I try and do at least 4 items for each big lunch $25 reward. That includes worldwide shipping, so please consider signing up for any of those tiers if they sound cool to you, because that is what is keeping the YouTube channel going. It takes me at least a full day to edit the video and get everything ready, not to mention all the filming that I do throughout the week. So your support goes a really long way to make sure that I can keep making these videos for you and posting pretty much every week. But of course, I know we can't support every creator that we love online, so I do just want to thank you for being here and making it to the end of this video. In any case, stay sparkly, don't let the cruel world dull your shine, and I will see you next time.